Earphones from a company called Brainwavz? Let's find out what they're like. Dave Taylor here again, and this time I'm looking at earphones. Hang on, let me actually get these out of my ears because it's hard to talk when you're listening to music. But this is a pretty typical configuration of how I work, is I have earphones or headphones plugged into my computer and I'm listening to music while I'm working. That way I can really sort of focus and not worry about what's going on around me. You probably do something similar, or perhaps you actually have your device where it's actually your smartphone or some other device that actually gives you audio. So what I'm looking at today is these are called the B200s from a company called Brainwavz. Great company name, guys. And the B200s are what are called balanced armature earphones. And in the terms of earphones or earbuds, whatever you want to call them, there's two primary categories. There are what are called dynamic drivers versus what they call balanced armatures. And these are balanced armatures. And these tend to be characterized by cleaner sound and a little less on the bass, but a nice crisp treble. And in fact, when I've listened to these extensively, I've found that that's a pretty accurate description. So you get a good musical response. They actually sound pretty nice, but at the very low end, at the very bottom of the music, you don't really get much bass going on. Well, that's not even fair. You get some bass, but it's not as much as other earbuds and certainly not as much as headphones, which is exactly what you'd expect from a balanced armature. But overall, it's a nice, bright, crisp sound, and the music, audiobooks, phone calls, everything, it's all going to sound good. Well, let me back up, because phone calls aren't going to work, because when you look at this, what do you notice that's missing? There's no microphone. That's right, these are just earbuds. There's not actually multifunction like so many in the marketplace. And I kind of like that, because that means that the company's just focused on doing one thing and doing one thing well, and that is to have really good audio reproduction. Now, it's an over-ear design, as you saw when I took them off, and I like that too, because that means if I'm using them when I'm running, when I'm bicycling, when I'm doing any activity, the chances of them falling out goes way down versus when they just go straight from your ear and hang down. So I like this design a lot, and you know, the company says the frequency response is from 12 hertz all the way up to 22,000 kilohertz. I can't really hear at either end of that. You probably can't either. That's a lot of range. But, you know, they do have a nice sound to them. So, you know, I'm going to believe their numbers, because why wouldn't I? Now, speaking of their numbers, they have 110 decibels sensitivity. So there's a lot of range. And it's funny, actually, I looked at some reviews and people were saying, be careful, it gets really loud, really fast. And they do get loud, but I think part of that actually is a reflection of the brightness of the sound. So when you go from a certain volume and you keep going up, they just get kind of it's an intense experience, because there's so much going on. It has a 1.3 meter cable, and it's a nice braided cable, although the very last bit of it, the part that connects it to the earbuds, this is not braided. This is just a sort of, I guess, vinyl covered cord, and it feels possibly a little flimsy. 3.5 millimeter plug, and it's gold plated. How about that for sweet? So why would you gold plate a plug? Because it gives you a slightly better electrical connection. If you can tell the difference between gold plated and not, however, then you have amazing ears. Still, for something at this price range, you want to have all these bells and whistles. Now, speaking of bells and whistles, this comes with all sorts of stuff. I'm not going to dump everything out because it's a little overwhelming, but has a shirt clip, and more importantly, it has 6 sets of ear tips, and it has these foam comply tips. So it's not a noise reduction system. There's no microphone on board. It's not canceling out any audio or anything, but the comply foam tips actually do a pretty sweet job of expanding in your ear to cut out all extraneous audio. So if you like that, some people don't find them very comfortable, but if they work for you, boy, it's gonna make these sound that much better. Comes with this nice hard case, so you can carry the whole thing and transport it, which is certainly appreciated. And what else can I tell you? I can tell you that you should subscribe to my channel, so please go ahead and do that right now. Awesome, thank you. The other thing I should tell you is the price, of course. You want to know how much these cost, these sweet little B200 earphones from Brainwavz. And the answer is they're $199. And as far as I can tell, the only place you can pick them up is at the Brainwavz website, which you can find at brainwavsaudio.com. So these are the B200s, and I need to plug back in and get back to work, so I'll catch you in my next video.